All right, you're welcome once again. And then let's see, for those of us that can able to make it, so sorry for joining late. We are supposed to start the class by 8 p.m. But unfortunately, we are unable to start at exactly that time. So I want us to see, let's see the numbers of people that can able to join successfully. Then we'll start without wasting much of our time. So please, those that are just joining, you can just call the attention of others that we've started so that they can join the class. Then we can move on from there. So just call the attention of the others on the group that the class has started. All right, for those that are just joining, you can just try to copy the link and share the link with others for them to join us. So let's see those that can join us now. All right, you are welcome. So just try to call the attention of others that are just joining, that they can join the link now. Then we see how we continue from here. If you are just joining, you can just talk to me, use the chat to talk to me. Let's know if you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, use the comment section to reply that I can hear you. If you can hear me clearly, use the comment section to reply that I can hear you. So if you can hear me clearly, can you use the comment section to answer you can hear me? Please, I need to get feedback from you. Let's know those who can hear me clearly, and use the comment section to answer me. I'm still waiting for you. Let's use the comment section to talk to me. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Onikonsola. All right, thank you. I can see. Okay, I can hear you, Onikonsola. Thank you. Then Fayemi Joy, I can hear you. Then Thomas Exter. Okay, I can see that. So let's just try to copy the link and share with others that are yet to join us. So others that are yet to join us, copy the link and share the link with them so that they can join us. Like I said, for those of you that can read the instruction on the message that I sent earlier, once you join in now, just let us know so that we see how we can treat those things together as a group. So I will quickly run you through what we have done so far. Even unfortunately, it's not everyone that joined that have been joining us, but I know for those that have been joining, you might have picked one or two things from the class. So let's quickly run through what the research method in education is all about. If you look at it, we started from the level of introduction to educational research. Like I said, immediately I run you through the review of everything, we are going to review some questions together. We review those questions together. So once we review those questions together, we'll look at some of those ones that we can get an answer to. Then, of course, like I said, this video will not be available online immediately after this class. So for those that are waiting to get the recording of the section, you may likely not get the recording because immediately we are done with the class, I will definitely pull down the video because I'm just doing this just to get ourselves familiar with what is going on about the course. So I will advise you share this link with others that you know that can benefit from this class. So of course, like I said, this course is a research method in education for the undergraduate students that are joining us. And the outline is basically in 8 modules. The outline is in 8 modules. We have the introduction to educational research. We have the module 2 as types of educational research. Then we have the module 3 as identification of research problem. Then we have the module 4 as hypothesis formulation, generation of research question. Then we have the module 5, the module 4 as well, that is research proposal, final research report. Then we talk about the module 5, which is review of related literature. Then the module 6 is talking about variable. Module 7 is talking about population sample and sampling techniques, while the last module is talking about research design. Like I said, we have covered almost everything that we have here, both online and on-site. So the class of tomorrow will just be just a class. Let me just say a kind of a review question before we go deeply into our test. And before we go into our test next week, that is the e-test for those for the undergraduate student. It can't open here. If you said it can't open here, how do you now get to this place? All right, so I will quickly start looking at the question from the first. I'll quickly run you through some of the questions on the first module, which has to do with introduction to educational research. So I want us to quickly be looking at some of those things that are related to that. Firstly is that when you look at the characteristics of a good test, when you look at characteristics of a good test that are listed during our physical class, you actually see that basically there are different types of there are characteristics of a good test. So in an exam, especially in exams of a multiple choice, the question can come in form of the following are characteristics of a good research questions. And yes, thank you. I can see others saying I can hear you clearly. So when we look at it, let's take this for instance now. Let's assume a question is coming in this form that educational research is scientific. Educational research is scientific. Educational research is scientific. So you are expected to pick the following option. Number one option is that educational research it follows empirical procedure. It addresses scientific problem. It draw conclusion based on concrete evidence, and then it provide background information to the research problem. Which of this is correct answer to educational to scientific, to research scientific, educational research scientific? If you can hear me clearly, can you just type yes? Because I will need your response. Yes. Thank you, Balogun, sign up. He said I can hear you clearly. So I will repeat the question again. Educational research is scientific. If you could remember, I was trying to define different educational research, and we talk about scientific research. So when we say an educational research is scientific, why? Why do we say it is scientific? It is scientific because it is empirical procedure, because it has empirical procedure. So that is the answer to that. So let us look at this one again. Research is an enterprise. When we say research is an enterprise, why do we say research is an enterprise? Why do we say research is an enterprise? I'm going to give you the option. A research is an enterprise to provide an irreversible solution to a problem. That is one. Two, provide a solution to a problem only to open another. Three, to keep academics on their toes for promotion. Three, to improve economic standard of an individual. So which one is the right answer? Which one is the right answer? If you can hear me clearly, yes, which one is the right answer? Like I said, we want to make the class be interactive enough so that we can also gain from the class. It won't just look at a class of just doing it from my own end alone. So when do we call it? When do we say it is hello? Yes, if you can see, if you can see hear me clearly, yes, if you can see hear me clearly, I want you to get, if you can hear me clearly, can you hear me? Yes, if you can hear me clearly, just type yes. I know some are saying that they are also battling the network. Okay, thank you, Tosin. If you can hear me, can you type yes in the chat? Yes, if you can hear me clearly, can you type yes in the chat? Okay, thank you, Dada. So let's look at another one that is related to the first one. Now, to become a research literate, to become a research literate, I said to become a research literate, uh, hello. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Fayemi. So let's take it away from there and let's move at this number. For an educational research to be objective, for an educational research to be objective, it must have the following. For an education research to be objective, it must have the following. A, it must promote multiple test items. B, it must be free from human bias. C, it must be reliable. D, it must be theoretical. So which one is the correct answer? From what we did in the class, like I said, it must be free from human bias. That's the correct answer. Of course, like I said, this section, you will not have access to this section immediately after the class, unlike the one we did on Sunday where you can listen to the recording. So please, if you know anyone that this class can be of advantage to, it's better you call their attention to this class. Let them join now. So, okay, so let's move on to those ones that are related to that. Of course, you will see that in our class, we talk about research problem in a developing country. We talk about research problem in a developing country. Now, which of the following is not a form of a research problem in a developing country? A, viable linkage, missing link, unsatisfactory state of affairs, and D, imbalance. Which one is not a research problem in a developing country? All right, the right answer is viable link. Viable link. Okay, so let me move away from there. Now let's move to the another question now. Once you join here, just type, just let us know your name. That's all. You can just introduce yourself. This class is not a general class. Yes, the network is not good. We'll keep trying. The network is not friendly everywhere. That is the way it is. Yes. So we just have to keep managing it together. We just have to keep managing this together. Okay, so I'm going to ask questions now that is still related to introduction to the. Now let's look at this one. Research project, this journal and newsletter are all dash primary source of literature, secondary source of literature, tertiary source of literature, and absolute source of literature. So which one is the correct answer? The right answer is the primary source of literature. Yes, immediately we move to the next topic. So let's look at this one again. Now we have been talking about two types of hypotheses. When we are talking about hypotheses, we talk about hypothesis, then we talk about alternative hypothesis. Which one is non-hypothesis in the following? A, positive position of the researcher. B, negative position of the researcher. C, neutral position of the researcher. D, new position of the researcher. I know majority of you, what you are carrying around that you call your PDF, majority of you pick natural position of the researcher. The answer is negative position of the researcher. So the researcher is testing the hypothesis with the intention of solving it in a negative way. And that is why it is always come in form of no. You always hear there is no significant relationship. There is no significant relationship. It is always set with a positive position of the researcher. That is a null hypothesis. So with the exception that once the hypothesis is tested using appropriate statistical tools, if the calculated value is lesser than the total value, you accept the null hypothesis. But once the calculated value is greater than the what you check on the table, you accept the alternative hypothesis, which will always be what? In the opposite side of it. So the answer there is that it must be in the negative position of the researcher. So let's move on to that is related to introduction to that. Like I said, we are still teaching the first part of the module. That's the one, which is talking about introduction to educational research. And as you can see in the introduction to educational research, which is dealing with educational research, characteristics of educational research, contribution of education, and problem confronting educational research in the developing country. So we are looking at the multiple questions that are related to that. So I'm moving on to other questions that are related to that. We talk about different types of research, where we are looking at action research. So this question now is asking us, an action research innovation is most concerned with the following: experimental study, laboratory study, correlational study, immediate classroom problem. Which one is action research? Which one is action research? I don't know if I can get a which one is talking about action research? I'm waiting for a response. Which one is talking about action research? An action research is immediate classroom problem. A problem you identify in the class and you carry out a research on it. So that is what action research is concerned about. So let me move on to now. Let's look at this question. You know, while you are writing your research proposal, I've moved on to module 2. I've moved on to module 2. Is this yes, I've moved on to module 4 now. That is research proposal and final research report. So this question is on research proposal now. And the question goes on. In the preliminary part of the project writing in education, which of the following is not to be included? In the preliminary part of the project writing in education, which of the following do not be included? Abstract, certification, definition of time, dedication. Which one is not to be included? Which one should not be included? If you say the network is bad in your end, just keep trying. That's the way it is everywhere. Because once I didn't do it, I'm not sure I'm going to do it again. That's the fact. So which one of them is not preliminary? Which one it is not section? Of course, when you go to the slide section of a research project, I want to quickly tell you some of those that we are expected to see at the preliminary stage of a project report. You will see the following: certification, dedication, acknowledgement, table of content. If you have list of figures, list of table, abstract. So which of those options are not part of preliminary stage of a research project or a research report? So the only thing that is odd among those options is the definition of terms. Of course, we all know the definition of terms is only included in chapter 1, not at the preliminary stage. That is question number 5 for module 1, 2, and 3. Now let's look at this one again. Research that is based on the collection of observable data is known as research that is based on collection of observable data is known as A, empirical study, B, case study, C, action research, D, evaluation research. So I want to see how someone that can try on that. Any research that is based on collection of observable data that you have to collect data, what kind of research do you do? Yes, because of our time, it is called empirical research. It is called empirical research. So another question that looks like that is that too much review may make a researcher myopic. Too much review may make a research myopic. In A, quantitative study, B, qualitative study, C, experimental study, D, case study. Which one? Which one can make a researcher myopic? The only thing that can make them in that place is in a qualitative study. I've told you, I've explained the difference between quantitative study and qualitative study and our physical class. So let me move away from there and move on to variable now. Question that has to do with variable. And when we look at it under variable, we look at different topics under variable. We look at classification between variables and non-related terms. We look at types of variable. That is where we are talking about dependent variable and independent variable. We talk about action variable. We talk about attribute variable. We talk about exogenous variable. We talk about endogenous variable. Now let's look at some of those under this now. Under variable now, let's look at question that can perform under variable. The researcher prediction of the relationship that exists among variable. The researcher prediction of the relationship that exists among variable being investigated is referred to as A, observation, B, hypothesis, question, 3, research. So which one that a research condition of the relationship exists among the group. Yes, hypothesis. Because I have some people here, that are here with me. So let's look at some of those things that have to do with available again. Because I want to do that. Okay, I got another question that has to do with introduction to method review. A research proposal is dash. A research proposal is A, the plan of the research. B, a direction given of the intended research. C, what the researcher will do. D, the presentation of the intention and the methodology. Which one of that has to do with the research? I want those that are just to also contribute to this. Someone is saying the network is bad. Of course, that is the way. If it is physical, you'll be getting an excuse like the time is not available. Now, when it comes to you'll be getting excuses like the network is bad. So, but whosoever that has to get into the class, you definitely will see the class beneficiary. So, another one that is related to research proposal again. Research proposal comprises of the following: A, chapter 1, 2, 3, and references. B, chapter 1, 2, 3, and appendix. C, chapter 1, 2, 3, references and appendix. D, chapter 1, 2, and 3. Which one is research proposal? Which one is research proposal? Which one is research proposal? For those that are on Friday, I think that was exactly what we treated. So which one? Which one is research proposal? Those things that I've just mentioned. Which one is research proposal? I told you this video will not be available immediately after this class. It will not be available in this class. So don't be looking forward to what did not get lost. So which one is research proposal? Which one is research proposal? I want someone to listen out in the chat. Which one is research proposal? So which one is research proposal? Yes, the correct option is chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. There is nothing like appendix in a proposal. You have nothing to do with the proposal. So it's only complex of chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. So I will take that to do a review of our last class review, where we are talking about the proposal. For those that are in the physical, I said a typical research proposal comprising chapter 1 to 3. It should be noted that a well-written proposal is adapted for chapter 1 to 3 of a research report. So that is a research proposal. So a research proposal is just from chapter 1 to what? To chapter 3. It has nothing to do with appendix at all. It has nothing to do with appendix. It's all about what do you want to do for your study. What do you want to do for your study? Why a research report is comprises of chapter 1 to 3 of the research proposal that has been reviewed and approved, adopted. The only modification is the change of language from we to what. It will be changed from future tense to past tense. To past tense. So that's all. So we'll take it away from there. Let me move on to the question. Yes, another question is, an abstract in a research means that. An abstract in a research means that. What do we call an abstract? 1. Summary of your research report. 2. A brief summary of your research report. 3. Layout of the research report. 4. A preamble of the research report. Which one is an abstract? 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 All right, the correct answer is that an abstract is a summarized account of the study. It's just the summary of all what the study of all what the study is about, and it's basically divided into 4 parts: a little background of your study, your statement of problem, the method you want to use, and the findings and your recommendation. So it's just talking about the summary account of your work, of your study. This is what an abstract is all about. Okay, so let's take it away from there and move on to let's look at this question. I'm expecting people to, yes. The main purpose of data analysis in the report, you remember that it's basically divided into 2. When you are doing your proposal, which is chapter 1 to 3, but when you are doing your report, which is your data presentation. So when we say the main purpose of data analysis is 1, answer research questions to test hypothesis. 2, to always reject the research results. 3, to identify problems related to the title. 4, to eliminate doubt related to the title. Which one is the main purpose of data analysis? Yes, the main purpose of data analysis is to answer research questions and test hypotheses. Like I said, there's difference between research question and research hypothesis. The major work while you are doing it to research work is for you to answer your research questions while you test your hypothesis. while you test your hypothesis. Yes, I want to be sure my voice is enough. We have less than 50 minutes to go on this class. So if you can hear me clearly, can you type yes? I want to be sure, giving excuses that they are helpful in that nature. If you can hear me clearly, can you type yes? If you can hear me clearly, type yes. If you can hear me clearly, can you type yes? If you can hear me clearly, can you type yes? I can't get response. If you can hear me clearly, can you type yes? If you can hear me clearly, can you type yes? Okay, so let's see. Which of the following is not a source of literature review? Which of the following is not a source of literature review? We eventually look at the source of literature review. One, published project. B, journal. C, magazine or newspaper. D, bibliography. So which one of them is not a source of a literature review? Which one is not a source of literature review? Others are so, except bibliography. That is not. Okay, that's fine. So let's just waiting for others. Yeah, so we are still on it, and like I said, I still want to confirm if you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, you can confirm that by typing yes in the chat. If you can hear me clearly, you can type yes in the chat. If you can hear me clearly, can you type yes in the chat? If you can hear me clearly, type yes in the chat. If you can hear me clearly, can you type yes in the chat? Like I said, this recording, don't expect it to be available immediately after this class. So I have just 40 minutes more in this review class with you. And immediately after the review, this video will not be available again. So now I want to pick it from, I want to move on to another question. Like I said, if you can hear me clearly, you can just put a chat. Just put yes in the chat. If you can hear me clearly, put yes. Yes, thank you, patient. Thank you. Patient said you can hear me clearly. So I'm going to now, we are done with the review on questions that are related to introduction to research method. We are done with review on questions that are related to types of research. We are done with the review of questions that are related to identification of research problem. Like I said, we are now moving towards research proposal and final research report. So I want to quickly look into those questions now. That's why I've been trying to categorize those questions so that you will not mix them up with another thing. So the three types of research in education based on method. What are the three types? What are the three basic types of research in education based on method? Of course, you know types of education research is based on method, based on findings and the like. So, but which one is based on method? Which one is based on method? A, experimental, descriptive, and expo factor. B, experimental, survey, and historical. C, experimental, descriptive, and casual comparative. And D, descriptive, casual, comparative, and historical. Which one are the three bases of types of research in education based on method? The correct answer there is experimental, descriptive, and casual comparative. Okay, so let's move away from there and move on to another question. Research today is different from ancient research in terms of dash. Research today is different from ancient research in terms of dash. 1, time log. 2, input. 3, personality. D, 4, procedure. Yes, research we are conducting today is basically different from those one they are conducting in old days based on the procedure. The procedure they use in those days is quite different from what they use in these days. So it is not about time lag, it is not about the input or personality, but it's about procedure. So let's move to another one. Let's move on to another one. Now, expression of variable linkage. Expression of variable linkage is described as dash. What do we call an expression of variable linkage? 1. Research design. 2. Research methodology. 3. Research instrument. 4. Research hypothesis. The correct answer there is research hypothesis, because it is research hypothesis that will describe as expression of variable linkage. Yes, the next question is, in a final report of a research, which one of the following come last? Which one of the following come last in a research report? 1. Appendices. 2. References. 3. Data analysis. Which one come last? Can I get an answer in the chat? Which one come last in a final report? Which one come last in a final report? In a final research report? Is it appendices? Is it references? Is it data analysis? Which one come last? I should get someone that can answer that. Which one come last in a final report? Which one come last? Someone said references. Akorede said references. No. After references, we still have your appendices. Appendices are evidence of what you use. They are possibly sometimes it could be in form of your instruments, your questionnaire. Your questionnaire will not come into the body of your work, but rather it will go after references, where we call appendices. Those are the materials you use in carrying out your study. So therefore, appendices is what will come last in your research report. Okay, so let me look at another one that is related to that. Let's look at another one that is related to that. In a research report, Chapter 2 is usually centered on dash. In a research report, Chapter 2 is usually centered on dash. What is Chapter 2 all about? A. Methodology. B. Literature review. C. Data analysis. D. References. Which one is Chapter 2 always about? Thank you, Akorede. Akorede said noted. Owolabi, if the network is bad, keep trying. What is Chapter 2 all about? I need a response. What is Chapter 2 all about? What is Chapter 2 all about? Akorede, what is Chapter 2 all about? Well, Chapter 2 is talking about review of literature. Review of literature. Now, let's look at this. One of the following is not a chapter in a research project. One of the following is not a chapter in a research project. 1. Methodology. 2. review of literature. 3, data presentation and analysis. 4, accidental sampling. Which one is not in a research project? Which one is not in a research project? The only thing that is odd there is accidental sampling. It has nothing to do with research. Okay. All of the following are elements of introduction to a report, except all of the following are things you can see in introduction, which is chapter 1, except. Now, the question is, what are those things can you see in chapter 1? What are those things can you see in your chapter 1, which is introduction? You will see background of the problem or background of the study. You will see the statement of the problem. You will see the purpose of the study. You will see your research question or hypothesis. You will see the scope of the study. You will see significance of the study. And lastly, you will see definition of the term. So which one is not in the introduction of a research? A, definition of term. B, background to the study. C, purpose of the study. D, abstract. Which one is not in introduction among those options I've just listed? The only thing that is odd there is abstract. Abstract is found in preliminary. Abstract is found in preliminary. Okay, so let me move on to another thing. This one is talking about the final report. The list of resources that are cited in a research report is called dash. List of resources that are cited. I said it already. Okay, thank you, Akorede. Yes. The list of sources that are cited in a research report is called dash. List of those things you are citing in your research report, we call it dash. What do we call that? What do we call that? What do we call that? What do you call that? It is called dash. Is Akorede there or Olaoba? The list of all sources that are cited in the research report is called dash. It is called references. So a references is all things that you cited in the body of your write-up is what is called references. Yes, another question that may come up is, what is the full meaning of APA? What is the full meaning of APA? What is the full meaning of APA? You always add in our physical class where we talk about APA 6, APA 7. The current APA they are using now is APA 7. So what is the full meaning of APA? What is the full meaning of APA? APA simply means American Psychological Association. American Psychological Association. American Psychological Association. American Psychological Association. Now let's look at, yes, thank you, Kayode, American Psychological Association. Thank you, Kayode. Now listen to this question very well. The following list those things you will see in preliminary page of a research report. Can you list those things that will be included in the things that you see in the preliminary stage of a research report? I want you to list them out What are those things can you see in preliminary page of a research report? What are those things can you see? What are those things can you see? Can you just list one thing you know you can see in a preliminary stage? I'm waiting. Things you can see in a preliminary stage. Things you can see in a preliminary stage. What are those things you can see in a preliminary stage? Okay, I will help you out. In case, what are those things can you see in a preliminary stage? Number one is that you can see your title page. That is where you will know the title of the study. Number two is that you will see dedication. You see dedication. This is a page where you will see those people you are dedicating your research work to. Then you will see abstract. Then you will see acknowledgement, where you will appreciate or acknowledge those that contribute to your study. Then you will see certification. Certification is a page where you will see a kind of write-up to acknowledge that you are actually the owners of this work, where you see the details and every other thing that has to do with the researcher. Then the next thing you will see there is that you will see the table of content. Then you will see list of figures. List of figures. List of figures. Sometimes you see list of tables as well. So those are those things that you can see in your preliminary stage. Now let's move on to questions that are related to the research report now. Research report. Research report. Let's see those things you can see in the research report. Those things you can see in research report. What are those things can you see in research report? Of course, like I said, basically research report is basically comprises of addition of chapter what? Chapter 4 and 5 to your proposal. So a research report is comprised of chapter 1 to 3 of the research proposal that have been reviewed and approved and they are adopted. The only modification you are going to do to that is that you are expected to change the language format from the language of intention to the language of action. So that means in your research proposal that you are talking about chapter 1 to 3, you are using future tense. But this time around now, when you are asked to bring your research report, you are going to change them to language of action. Language of action. That is where you have said this research will be, it will be, this research was, that is a language of what? A language of action. So in addition to what you have done in your chapter 1 to 3, you have the data presentation and interpretation. In the data presentation and interpretation, you have answer to research question or testing of hypothesis. I will repeat that. You only answer research question and you can only test hypothesis. Then thereafter, you will now do discussion of your findings. What the answers you have the answers to all your research questions and what you tested on your hypothesis, everything will be discussed under another heading that we call discussion of findings. Then we move on to chapter 5, where you'll be doing summary of your findings, implication. By implication, that is talking about the relevance of any study that lies in the contribution of the findings of your study. So to that extent, the researcher you are going to state clearly the implication of the findings to your problem. So it should be listed in the specific terms. Then from there, you move to recommendation. Like I said, for those of us that are available in the physical class, there is difference between recommendation and suggestion for further study. The recommendation is just talking about the basis of your findings. You have to make specific recommendation as a way forward to the problem. You have actually looked at some of those things, possibly you do something. One of your recommendation could be you are recommending to state government or you are recommending to stakeholder that they should conduct a workshop or a seminar on all what your findings is all about, which is quite different from suggestion for further study. The suggestion for further study, it has nothing to do with recommendation. It's just trying to talk about what you want other researchers to look into. Like I said in the physical class, when you are talking about suggestion for further study, if you are carrying out a research on cohabitants of undergraduate students in Taisho Larin University of Education, another person can pick it up, or in your suggestion for further study, you can say another researcher can look into another university. Probably they can look at cohabitants among other undergraduate students in Olabisi Onabanjo University. So what question can come up in that area? They can say the following are the difference between recommendation and suggestion for further study. So that explanation can come under that way. So that is that on chapter 5. So let's move on to variable now. I have just 20. Is this minutes more? Yes, I have 20 minutes more for this class. Like I said, we are just trying to do looking forward that recording. You cannot have access to the recording of this class because it will be on private immediately after the class. So if there is anybody that has to do, possibly maybe what I will do is that I'll still make it available between now and 10 a.m. tomorrow. Then I will remove it from public to private. So let's look into another question. Let's look into another question. Now, I think you should be able to answer this question now. Please, if you can hear me, I can see Abiba saying, sir, I can hear you. If you can hear me, can you type yes in the chat? If you can hear me, can you type yes in the chat? If you can hear me, can you type yes in the chat? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Mudia, thank you very much. Thank you, Tosin. Yes, clearly. Sir, can we download? Well, you are free to download since I did not say anything that is bad. But what I'm just saying is that for those that did not join us live, they should not expect that they will see the recording of the class online. I'm going to pull it down so that when next we ask you to come and join the live class, you should always make sure you are there. It's not convenient for anyone. There's no one that is really having that luxury of time to waste here online. Now look at this question. In educational research, The summary of the whole report indicates as dash. The summary of the whole of your findings, what do we call that? I need a response in the chat. The summary of your findings or your research report is called dash. Response in the chat. Summary. What is summary of your research? What is the summary of your research report? I'm waiting. The summary of your research report is called dash. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Okay. Someone said abstract. Okay. So let me move to another question. Yes, let's look at this question. The term research means dash. Yes. No. Someone said research question. No. The summary of the whole project is called abstract. If you could remember, I defined an abstract for us when we started the class. It is called abstract. It's one of the items in preliminary stage of a research report. An abstract is summary account of the study. Summary account of the study. That's what we refer to as an abstract. Literally, the term research means dash. A, to gather. B, to find. C, to search for. D, logically inquiry. What is research? What's the meaning of research? What's the meaning of research? I'm waiting. So when we say research, I think we stated almost question. So now I'm going to move on to if you have any question now, just drop your questions on the chat. For the next 10 minutes, if you have any question, yes, Olaiya, you are right. If you have any question, can you drop your question on the chat? Why I keep looking for questions that can so if you have any questions, sir, yes, it's abstract. Abstract simply means, like I said, abstract simply means the summary of your findings. That's one of the list. Is the summary account of the study. The summary account of the study, and it's one of the items in the preliminary stage of a research report. Now let's look at this question, for instance. Which of these is not true of scientific research? Which of these is not true of scientific research? It is empirical, it cannot be replicated, it is cumulative, it is not ethical. It is not. Jubri, you are asking what is the last question. The last question I asked is that the summary of your findings. What do we call that? The summary of your findings. What do we call that? Or the summary account of your study. What do we call that? It is called abstract. It is called abstract. Okay, Olaya, yes, I'm going back to the question again. I'm going back to the question again. I'm going back to the question again. Which of these is not true of scientific research? 1, scientific research is empirical. 2, it can never be replicated. 3, it is cumulative. 4, it is non-ethical. So which of that is not true of scientific research? The only thing that is not true of scientific research is that it can never be replicated. It can never be replicated. So when we said an experimental research, you are trying to experiment something. So it can never be what? Which of this is not true of that? It is empirical, it is cumulative, it is non-ethical. So the only thing that is not true of scientific research is that it can never be what? Replicated. That's the only thing that is all there. Yes, this is an interesting question that we deal with Moridot said it is non-ethical. No, it can never be replicated. That is the only odd thing that is there. Olaya, you did not get the question very well. So can you listen to the next question? The next question here is that which of this is the first stage in educational research? Which of this is the first stage in educational research? A, review of literature. B, problem identification. C, data collection. D, reporting result. Which of this is the first stage in educational research? For those of you that are in the physical class, I always ask, before you do anything in your research, what is the first thing to do? So what is the first thing? What is the first stage in educational research? Is it literature, review of literature? Is it data collection? Is it reporting result? Is it problem identification? Which one is the first step, first stage? Which one is the first stage in a research problem? The first stage in educational research. Yes, thank you, Blessing. That is problem identification. Is the first stage, problem identification. Thank you, Blessing. Now, look at this now. Very similar to that one. Which of these can be considered as the last stage in educational research? What is the last stage in educational research? Just like the same option. What is the last stage in educational research? 1, review of literature, problem identification, data collection, reporting result. Which one is the last stage? Which one is the last stage? Which one is the last stage? Reporting results. Thank you, Blessing. Fine. Obarinu Blessing, thank you very much. Now let's look at this one. Review of literature involve which of the following? Review of literature involve which of the following? Searching all journal in the library. Searching all journal in the library. 2. Reading and photocopying material. 3. Searching for related material. 4. Rewriting literature already in the publication. Which one is review of literature? Which one is the proper definition of the review of literature? Which one is the proper definition of review of literature? The correct answer is that you are searching for related material. That is why it is called review of literature. Searching for related material. Now let's look at this question now. Educational research is usually classified on the basis on dash and dash. Educational research is usually classified on the basis on dash and dash. A, on the basis of type and function. B, on the basis of purpose and method. C, on the basis of processing and product. D, on the purpose of size and complexity. Thank you, Tosin. You are correct. Searching. So that question, educational research is usually classified on the basis of purpose and method. That was the first thing we did. It is usually classified on the basis of purpose and what? And method. Yes, let's look at this. I'm sure I have defined the difference between primary data. I've defined the difference between primary data and secondary data. When we said some primary data, can someone give me an examples of a primary data? Examples of a primary data. Examples of a primary data simply means during your field work, you go to a school and you go and conduct an achievement test for secondary school students. The scores you pull from that place is a primary data because you got the data yourself. It's a primary data. I will repeat myself. When you are going on field to carry out your research and you are conducting an achievement test, the scores you realize from your field is a primary data. Now, what is now secondary data? Secondary data, on the other hand, is like when you go to a school and you need the scores of a student for research purpose, and you are not the one that conducted the test for them. You just ask them, ma, can we get the WAEC result of student between so year and so year? They release the scores or the grade of the student to you from WAEC. Such data is a secondary data. It's a secondary data. Now listen to this question now. Now listen to this question. Eyewitness report belong to dash, and eyewitness report belong to dash. A, primary source. B, secondary source. C, nursery source. D, tertiary source. So an eyewitness report belong to which source? Can we get an answer to that? An answer to that? So an eyewitness report belong to primary source. It belong to primary source. It belong to primary source. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how far we can go on the review of this class. Like I promised, the class will only last for 2 hours. Unfortunately, our network is not that friendly when we started the class, but we thank God we are able to do 1 or 2 things for the class. So that is how far we can go about the class. And I'm very sure that with this that we have done, if you really join us from the beginnings of the class up to this present hour, you should be able to go into your test with confidence to come out in flying color. But notwithstanding, we'll still be meeting in our physical class tomorrow. The time to meet will be shared on our various platforms. So let us endeavor to come to the physical class, as that will be used as one of the yardstick tomorrow. So for the next 5 minutes, if you have any question relating to what we have been discussing, you can just drop the questions online here. On the basis of purpose, yes, thank you, Olaya. Any question, if you have any question, go ahead and put your questions on the chat. If you have any question, go ahead and put your questions on the chat. If you have any question, go ahead and put your questions on the chat. If you have any question, go ahead and put your questions on the chat. If you have any question, go ahead and put your questions on the chat. So, if you don't have any question, you are free to go. We have come to the end of the online class, which is talking about the review on the course research method in education. If you have any question, I'll be using the next 5 minutes to answer all your questions. Make sure you drop those questions on the chat. Any question? Drop your questions on the chat. Drop your questions on the chat. If you have any question, drop your questions on the chat. Yes, Jubril is asking a question, but I'm very sure we have tried to provide an answer to the question that Jubril is asking. But notwithstanding, I will still try to answer Jubril. Jubril is asking, what is research? What is research? Research means you are digging into the unknown to explain the known, or you are predicting the occurrence of the known. That is the meaning of research. Olaya is asking observation data. What is an observation data? I didn't really get your question. Observation data. Is he answering question or what is he saying? Can you repeat that again, Olaya? Are you asking question of what is the meaning of observation data? I hope I've answered Jubril. Jubril, I hope I've answered your question. If I've answered your question, just say yes. A research simply means you are digging into unknown to explain the known, or you are trying to predict the occurrence of the known. To search or look for something. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Grace. So that is how far we can go on the class. So see you in the physical class tomorrow by God's grace.